In this weekend's readings, we hear from a lesser-known prophet Amos. He was a prophet of Judah, the southern kingdom. Remember, the 12 tribes of Israel had split into 2 kingdoms. The northern tribe was Israel and consisted of the 10 tribes, and the southern kingdom was Judah and consisted of the other 2 tribes. Amos lived in Judah, but he had a message for Israel. The northern tribes were living a life of debauchery and worshiping idols. God had already sent other prophets like Elijah, Elisha, and Jonah to warn them to repent in his mercy, but they still didn't turn back to God. So God, again in his mercy, sent Amos and Hosea in a final effort to stop the nation's trajectory toward ruin. Amos was warning them about the Sabbath rest and taking advantage of the poor. On the Sabbath and holy days, conducting business was forbidden according to the Torah. It really should have been a day of opportunity for refreshment and renewal of their spirits and their relationship with God. And in addition to that, Amos indicates that instead of resting in the Lord on those days, they were just waiting for it to be over so that they could get back to the business of taking advantage of and even enslaving the poor by overcharging them and cheating them. This also violated the Torah, which demanded just balances for the buyers. Amos says, God has sworn that he will not forget what they have done. Despite the multiple warnings, remember God's mercy from the various prophets, they had ignored God, and now judgment was sure for them because of not keeping with his covenant. And in Luke, Jesus is telling us about the shrewd business manager who acts similarly as those Amos spoke of. Jesus was not praising this dishonest and crooked manager's methods, but instead his foresight in planning for his future. Greed can cause us to love money more than God, making it an idol, and causes us to focus on ourselves instead of others. Whenever we are motivated by selfish motives like the merchants from Amos, warning signs should be going off inside of us. It's not wrong to plan for our future. In fact, we should. It's part of being a good steward. But what we really should be planning mostly for is our eternal future, our future with God. So how can we apply some of these truths from scriptures to our lives and not let sin and greed corrupt us so that we become so hard-hearted against God that we don't heed the warnings that he sends to us also in mercy? Well, I think there are 2. No, I think there are really 3 great things that we can do mentioned right here in these scriptures. First of all, we can take care of those in need and not take advantage of anybody. We do a really great job of this at St. Ambrose. We can join others that are making PB&J or those sorting and distributing food up in Cleveland, and also those who are fixing up houses for those who need additional help. We can also honor the Sabbath. The Sabbath rest was not just for Jews who followed the Torah, but it's for us too. If God himself rested on the 7th day, don't you think that we need to rest all the more? Not only did he rest on the 7th day, but he blessed it and sanctified it. For us Christians, the Sabbath was moved from the 7th day to the first day of the week in recognition of the new creation that was inaugurated by the resurrection of Jesus, which we celebrate on Easter. It's not only a time of rest, but a time of reflection on the work of God as the Creator. Get outside and spend some time with him in his majestic creation. Join one of our hikes or bike rides. Get your work done in the 6 days that God gives you to work, and then rest on the other. I've been trying to practice this now for about 20 years. I certainly have not done it perfectly, and I still struggle with it. It's hard, but I'll tell you, it has been life-changing. I try to get my work done in 6 days, and on the other day, I spend time with the Lord by going to church like many of you, by doing spiritual reading, and by just spending time with him in nature. I love to sit outside and read or take a walk, and I also love to spend this day of rest with my family, which is also a gift from God. God has always given me back the time that I give him, and I end up having enough time to get everything else done that I need to get done for the coming week. And not only that, but I go in refreshed. Another application is prayer. We can pray. Prayer is one of the spiritual weapons that God gives us as a tool against the devil, listed in Ephesians 6. In fact, it tells us to pray at all times and on every occasion. And that is what Paul is telling Timothy to do as well. We should, of course, pray for ourselves, but others as well, as Paul indicates. God is all-powerful and all-knowing, but he has chosen to let us help him change the world through our prayers. We are intercessors too. Paul urges us to pray for others and for our leaders in government. We can surely see the need for that. One way we can do that at St. Ambrose is join If My People Pray on the second Wednesday of each month as they gather to pray for our country and our leaders. Our earnest prayers will have powerful results. Paul clearly states that God's desire for salvation is for all people. He did not create anybody for hell. He created everybody for heaven. So as we go into our new week, I hope that together we can apply some of these truths to our life and that we get rested up and prayed up. And I pray that you all will have a great week, and I will see you in church.